Welcome to the Daily Thunder podcast. I am Cray Allred, your substitute host. I'm going to do my best subbing in for Ryan Woods, who has taken the evening off. I am joined today for the recap episode by JD Taylor of Welcome to Loud City, who also has a byline with Daily Thunder, has written some good stuff for us. Welcome, JD.
Thank you. It's nice to be on here. Thank you, Cray.
Absolutely.
A good evening, I think.
It'll be, for Thunder fans, it'll hopefully be a better evening than it was an afternoon. With maybe some more exciting football than there was basketball.
Of course, it's afternoon for you. It's evening, well, 12-ish for me, 12:30-ish.
Yeah, well, maybe sweeter dreams. So this is like but an afternoon game, that's rare for you guys, where you can actually watch it live at a decent hour.
The game was on a reasonable time today. The Clippers game on Friday night, it started around 3 a.m, finished about 5:30. This was a lot better. Better.
Thunder fans, Thunder media, we've been griping for the last 48 hours of, it's West Coast time. The game didn't start till 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock sometimes, and we've got to wait, and we might not be done till 1 a.m. The game hasn't even started for poor JD if he wants to watch it live. So we'll keep that perspective that we have it better than many of our international fans, of which there are a lot. So I'm sorry the game was not more exciting, other than a little bit of interest in the closing minutes there, closing seconds really. So JD, I already published our quick recap on the site. I pretty much summed it up as kind of a boring sequel to the game a couple days ago. I said the summary is basically that the Clippers are good and the Thunder are scrappy. That is an oversimplification. So why don't you tell me anything you think I might be glossing over that a Thunder fan could have learned by watching this game, maybe who didn't watch it very closely?
I think that your general point is about right. I think that, the Thunder are a very scrappy team, but I think that at times you see a lot of grit from the Thunder. You see a lot of the fight within them. They'll go down by 18, 19 points, but you never get the sense that they're giving up on the game. You see other teams that do that. You see in the body language, you see a heads drop and they're not interested in playing the game anymore. With Thunder, it's the different stories that they always seem to keep on wanting to fight. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was probably the best example of that tonight, is that he had a rough first half, I thought, didn't play all that well, but he kept on getting himself to the free throw line, kept on making the right plays, and he eventually ended with a pretty good night. He had 23 points, 7 assists and 6 rebounds, which is a really good night for him, and he just played well, I thought. And same thing with Isaiah Roby. I was always a bit worried with Roby when the Thunder got him, because I didn't really know what to expect, but he's really emerged as like a good player over the last 5 games or so. He had, a double-double tonight, and his 3 assists were pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, my preseason prediction, when we do our wild and crazy, we call them extreme confidence predictions for the season. I had said that Roby would end up being the 6th man for the Thunder. And I'm feeling pretty good about that.
That's a good prediction.
Yeah. If you'll couch it with all the other outlandish predictions, you'll see that I wasn't basing it off of like sound logic or anything. But I just one of those gut feel things where a lot of people didn't expect him to make the team, obviously, when the summer roster was so crowded. But I did think that he had, kind of a funky stretch big, can play make enough, has undersized but has enough side that I thought, I wasn't sure why other people weren't giving him attention as a worthwhile project like they might be for someone like a Frank Jackson or others that the fan base seemed to have rallied hard behind. So I'm honestly shocked at how well he's played. And especially without Al Horford having been traded yet, for him to get this much playing time. But the good friend rest and happy personal reasons have been good for Roby's fate this season and the Thunder's development. So he was impressive. Shai's just Shai at this point, right? He's averaging this is basically an average game for him, right? low to mid 20s scoring, racking up points and rebounds, being the clear leader on the floor, setting the tone, controlling the pace of the game for the Thunder. It's nice that we just know what he is. And not that he can't grow and expand on that, but there's a lot less mystery on him as like a lead playmaker for the team. I'd also throw Hamidou Diallo out there, he's not been living up to that super hot start that he had, but a decent game off the bench. Everyone does this. They complain about using plus minus as in an individual game and then go ahead and do it, which I'm going to do with him. But as an aberration, I think it's funny that he was a -2 for the game and missed 5 out of his 7 free throws. So like he single-handedly probably could have put himself from a minus to a plus just by making a couple of free throws, which is usually not the case with players. It's a little more complicated than that. But did you think Diallo looked good? Pretty typical effort and kind of workmanlike contributions from him?
I think Diallo is the one who's really surprised me this season, I have to say, because in the first 2 years in the league, he's not really looked like quite a rash player. He makes bad decisions quite a lot. He seems to have settled down quite a lot and he's calmed down and he's making better decisions now. I think he had a really good night tonight. I think he had 14 points, but he's not settling really for those threes or early shot clock shots that he used to take where he was contested quite heavily. And I think that he can really grow this aspect of his game. I think that this might seem like a stretch to say, but his athleticism in a weird way reminds me of what Westbrook did in terms of just using his pace to get to the rim all the time. And I'd like to see Hami probably try to develop a little bit of a post game down low, because if he can get a couple of post games and get a couple of up and unders and create out of there and start finding shooters, I think that's something that you can really build upon. And I said this, I think previously, that if you can get him working as a roll man and as passer out in the short roll, I think that only increases his opportunities on the Thunder.
Yeah, so I was actually just about to ask you about the Westbrook comparison, which I saw a long time ago, and I laughed out loud when I saw it because I thought, okay, Thunder fans, just because there was one Westbrook doesn't mean there'll be a second. But the more has, honestly, I think both of us say, he does not have a Russell Westbrook ceiling, right?
No.
Or even a role. I wouldn't think that he's going to have a comparable role to Russell Westbrook. But that similar type of explosiveness, determination, being able to maybe make up for a lack of shooting and finesse with power, right? And being able to not just operate at a faster speed, but understanding the way your speed and force in the game give you advantages over the defense, right? Because, Russell Westbrook turned himself into a double-digit assist man for, this last arc of his career, which no one would have seen coming early on, right? So I think that's kind of maybe the Scott Brooks in us being able to, well, not in me, but in the Thunder fan base, maybe able to squint and see, a real raw Thunder player, even though we've been burned by so many, projects, but being able to squint and see, it worked out with Russ, you let them play, you see where the athleticism takes them. Maybe you can believe, and I will say that I'm someone that absolutely did not think that was apt for the Diallo experiment, but I've been proven, at least through this part of the season, somewhat wrong.
I think if people believe that, they should be doing the lottery, because I think looking at Hami coming into the season, I would have never seen this. I kind of thought that his decision making and his inability to shoot did kind of top him out at a certain level. Say he was an 8th, 9th man off the bench at best, but he seems to have, I don't want to say it's stubbornness, but he seems to have just got this, simplified his game to the point where his focus is just getting to the rim and finishing around there. And if he misses, he'll get his offensive rebound and use his energy. And I think that's such a big innovation for him, because he's no longer doing stupid stuff. He's doing the simple things. And that's what I'd like to see personally out of him. I never would have expected it. Never. I was in the same boat as you. I looked at Hami and I didn't understand I didn't understand him. I thought he's really athletic, but he doesn't seem to have the technical understanding or the knowledge or feel for the game to really make an impact. And he seems to be growing that aspect of his game.
And that's the thing. Most players with that next level athleticism, without the feel for the game, it doesn't go anywhere, right? Just because you can jump higher or run faster than someone doesn't make you an NBA player. So there's got to be that understanding that he seems to be leaning into of, where to input his athleticism and his specific skill set into an NBA offense, into the flow of the game, without doing the more unfortunate shenanigans. And I would also say, Thunder fans probably maybe have more trust. Not that I don't have trust in the Thunder's front office and development and scouting and coaching teams, but the team picked up his player option for next season when they didn't have to. When this could have been much more of a trial year for him, and they believed him enough to pick up that option when they did have that glut of flyers on the summer roster. So they were bigger fans in Hami World than you and I, JD. But so far they've been proven right. I still will not be shocked if he reverts somewhat, but it's a good sign so far.
No, I expect some regression of some sort, because I think that he's performing at his jump is too big at this point in time. It's kind of an unsustainable jump. Same with Dort and his shooting. Mm-hmm. Dort is currently above 40%. There's no way he's going to finish the season above 40%. He shot 29% last year from three. There's going to be some sort of regression. But if Hami can sort of average out as, say, 8-9 points off the bench on relatively decent shooting, and he's just a microwave scorer who comes in and does stuff relatively efficiently, I'll be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, so that's a good transition to Dort, who I have next up on the list. This game could potentially be a harbinger for maybe not struggles, but maybe, not Cloud9 Dort offense for the rest of the season. I think it's probably fair to say that most teams, as far as opponents scouting and strategizing as Thunder, probably to this point in the Thunder have not been taking him seriously as a scoring threat, as a true number 2 option. It looks like more and more he's going to be given those opportunities, right? And he's done well with them. But similarly to the Game 7 in Houston, and that whole series is like, yes, he dropped 30 in a Game 7 and made a bunch of threes, but no, they were not contested. and no, Houston was not upset that he was taking those shots, right? So there's going to be, shooting's real, right? If you can shoot, you can shoot. It's not necessarily, there are plenty of NBA players that can't knock down open shots, that can't knock down wide open shots. So I'm not saying it's a mirage by any stretch, but I do wonder especially if something like a George Hill trade happens, right? Or an Al Horford trade, or a major injury, God forbid, to Shea or someone important, right? Like, if the attention to the defense makes life a little bit harder for Lu Dort. So this was definitely his worst offensive game of the season. He took 10 shots, made 2. First game without a made 3 of the season. He missed all 6 of his attempts. So where do you put him at? Closer to the, sniper making half of his shots a game, or more of the, round 1, nobody guard him, and he might get lucky sometimes and knock him in? Where do you think he lands moving forward?
I think he's probably somewhere in the middle. I think that, personally, if he can get to, say, 36, 37%, maybe in, say, 38, that's really good for him. I don't see him as being this elite shooter, because if you look at elite shooters like a Redick, if you look at their form and how consistent and how repeatable it is time and time and again, it's the same form. Whereas Dort, there's still a few little inconsistencies here and there. I think he'll eventually get them worked out, but I can't see him being that sort of shooter. But then on the other hand, I don't see him just being a guy who sits in the corner and just jacks up shots, but he's just missing them left, right and centre. I think he's made enough improvements on that front to actually be a half-decent shooter, I would say. Say 36, 37%, I think he can do.
Yeah, and that's, for someone with his skill set on defense, that's 3-and-D premium talent, right? You don't have to be, if JJ Redick could defend like Lu Dort, he'd be, top 10 player. So.
Oh, no. I did an article the other day, and I said Lu Dort is one of the premium 3-and-D wings in the league. And to be honest, I completely stand by that, because if you look at what he's doing, He's taking 5 attempts from 3 a game. At this point, he's knocking down 40%. Say it averages out around 37%. But he's an elite defender. He's all NBA. Sorry, it's all defense first teamer, I would say, if he continues on like this. And you need those kind of players to win a championship. Every great team in the last 10 years has had an elite 3-and-D player. You need one of them.
Yeah. So the obvious comp comes to mind is like a Danny Green, right? Although Dort's already got more skill as a ball handler, playmaker, a little more of a loose cannon as well, though. So he's got some growing pains that he's gone through and is still growing through as more of a creator and ball mover. But yeah, I mean, players like that have a role. That's one of my other outlandish predictions, was that Lou Dort would be traded by virtue of being so valuable to real contenders, you know, of which the Thunder might not be for several years. So they might maximize his value way earlier than you might imagine. But I think the Thunder mob might come out to me if I campaign for that. So I'm not campaigning for that. But
I think I see the benefit in keep because his contract is so cheap.
Yeah.
His contract is so cheap, and we saw in the last few games he seems to be developing a bit of a floater. His handle looks a bit tighter. If he can become a 3-and-D guy, but he has a little bit of ball handling, a bit like a Marcus Smart in a sense, then that is so valuable to a team. And I don't see the point in trading him when he's on such a cheap contract now. And even if he gets his next contract in 3-4 years' time, and that's worth $15-16 million, if he progresses at the rate he is, that's a very good contract. He's totally worth it.
Yeah. And he's shaping up to be that kind of value that I definitely think there'd be diminishing returns on trading him, where now you look at him as, even if he is not going to be a long-term piece, you see him more as, part of a package for like a superstar or a real, a Cade trade or something like, he's one of the, these kind of little mini groupings of players pop up on different teams where, it's like the Siakam role, right? Where it's like the Siakam, going to be 1A superstar, or are we going to be talking about trading him for Bradley Beal for the next 5 years? I wonder if he kind of makes it into that echelon, but we've wasted enough time. I've wasted enough of your time talking about Dort as a trade chip and angering enough fans. So we'll move on. The only other thing I was going to mention is I think you mentioned the spiritedness of the Thunder and their grit, right? And how they make a game out of games that really don't have any business being competitive as long as they are. I think a lot of that goes back to last season, right? Under the tutelage of Chris Paul, and just how you might have been the one that called it the Chris Paul Academy, even on this podcast. But there's a fight in the team, but it's a fight to get it within a few points. Maybe not a fight that on the others that Chris Paul can deliver a win for you, right, against a much better team. So, and I think all people would agree that the Clippers don't necessarily have that, chemistry, charisma, the it factor, right? They haven't shown themselves to have much of that. So in some ways, this game is a testament to talent wins over things we like about teams, right? Not to make every podcast and every article about team tank or team not tank, but ultimately the Clippers, completely dumped all of their little scrappy, compete in the playoffs, but maybe don't really have a chance at the title. They happily cashed all those ins for players like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And I do think that a roster like the Clippers, hopefully a more likable one, maybe one with more spirit, right? With maybe a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that is leading that. But, the goal is ultimately not to be a scrappy first round team. It's to have like real superstar powerhouse talents that can squash teams that are like the Thunder right now. Does that seem a fair comp?
No, that's probably about fair. I think the NBA, if you look, the rosters are so small. If you have 15 players on a roster, you have a regular 9-10 man rotation. If you have 3 or 4 truly great players, that can swing a lot of wins in a playoff scenario, because you've just got that level of top-end talent that most teams can't tap into because it's a scarce resource. I think that the Thunder have to try to work out how to pursue that, because the Clippers were able to get Kawhi to come home because they were able to promise that you'd be able to live in LA and be near your house, be near your home. And same with Paul George and other players as well. I think that, so if you said to Marcus Morris, okay, you've got a championship winning team in Oklahoma City, would you come? And I don't think he would, because there's certain lifestyle factors there. I think that the way that the Thunder have to work it is that you have to try to get young guys in who are under team control, and then you make a big trade. I mean, then you make a trade for a star. Say you go out and get Karl Anthony Towns or somebody like that, and you give up the mother load to get him. But then you have that window of say 4 or 5 years, of not even 4 or 5 years, say 3 years to try and win a title. I think the big thing is that once they hit unrestricted free agency, then that's the big thing for the Thunder, because that can kill the team within one stroke of a pen. You have to win before they get to their prime. You have to win when from ages of 21 to 27.
Yeah, and I think so. It's unambiguous what the Thunder are doing. They are rebuilding, right? In the words of the GM, they've been on the path to a rebuild or a replenishment or repositioning.
From Reward.
Yeah, they're re-ing, they're re-thundering. But there's no ambiguity about what their plans are, but there's plenty of dynamics in how you do a proper rebuild, the specific context of Oklahoma City, the history of the team, the assets they currently have. So I don't think there's anything necessarily predictable about what ultimate moves they will take. Other than it needs to be, like I said, powerhouse, blue chip talent at the end of the major moves that they do kind of cash in whatever chips they have, or else they probably will not think it's worth doing that. So have fun, Clippers. Enjoy the regular season, Paul, or what do we call them? Regular season
P, playoff P, way off P. There's many different things.
We'll see. To be fair to playoff P, he has had some absolute monster moments in the playoffs before he was with the Oklahoma City Thunder, as well as other gaffes and embarrassments. But he's gone toe to toe with LeBron at LeBron's peak before. So
yeah, but it's just that 7 years is a long time ago.
Yeah. That's true.
People are short-termists. They're short-term. It's a case of what have you done for me lately? And his performance last year just means he's the butt of all the jokes. Hopefully it motivates him to do better, because I do genuinely think I do like watching Paul George play. I don't want to see him just keep on struggling. So hopefully it motivates him and he can actually start putting in the performances that we know he's capable of.
Yeah. We'll see. Thunder fans won't be rooting particularly hard for it, but for him. But we'll be grinning about the assets he fetched us on his way out, regardless. I think he was definitely earned the playoff P designation in the joking one while he was in Oklahoma City, at least. So, all right, JD, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for helping breaking down the game with us and everything you do for the site. And again, encourage our listeners to check out Welcome to Loud City. A lot of JD's works there pretty much every week, right?
Yeah, every couple of days, I think, is usually about my hit rate.
So he does good stuff. We like having him on, and Ryan should be back the next go around, hopefully with a happier post-game podcast to do. So take care.
It'll be Portland. We'll definitely be happier. We'll win that one, I think.
And I'll let him break down the whole Damian Lillard sneakers scandal and controversy and everything that people are mad about now. That can be saved for that game. All right, you take care, JD.
Take care. Thank you.